Hey, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to the Last Outlaws YouTube channel. I'm joined today by a special guest. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Progressivism. Most people just call me Thomas in real life. I have an Instagram page with around 1,000 followers, and I also have a YouTube channel that I just started for mainly just so I could do some like political commentator. Sorry, hold on, that was my live. So,
No problem.
alrighty.
Okay, well, welcome to the show, man, and welcome to you, the audience. We've got a special debate for you guys here today. It's going to get a little dicey. I wanted to start, just because it's such a controversial topic, I wanted to start by explaining why this debate is happening.
Oh,
I would not have brought up this topic if it wasn't for what Tulsi Gabbard had said. It's not something that I have really put a lot of thought into. Aside from just having opinions, do I think there needs to be legislation? Well, I mean, that's an interesting topic too. I'm not opposed to it. But the reason this debate is happening is because of Tulsi Gabbard's comments and what I saw as many people unfairly attacking her. So that's where I come from, and that's why we're here today. I wanted to give you a chance to do an opening argument.
oh, okay. So, if you don't actually no, never mind. So, as you said, the original reason why we're here is due to Tulsi's legislation, latest legislation regarding trans women in sports, and I believe, if you can reaffirm this now, if you're okay with also debating the Born Alive bill, the abortion bill that she proposed, is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
I just want to reaffirm that because we talked about that in DMs. So
Yeah, that's fine. We can get into that, but I would like to start with the merits of transgender athletes in sports, just so there's no confusion. I have no problem with pronouns. Whatever somebody wants to be called doesn't bother me. But to provide the audience without confusion, we're going to refer to those individuals as transgender athletes. Okay.
So do you want me to say my argument about Tulsi in general? Do you want me to more specifically talk about the trans woman in sports?
Yes, the second one.
Okay, so my main argument is that this is really something that shouldn't be legislated at all, and it's really something that really shouldn't be an issue. The reason why this is such a mainstream issue in like our modern day society is mainly due to like conservative media and other like just conservative organization pumping up this narrative that trans women always dominate in sports and therefore they should not be allowed to participate in sports. But there have been many studies done where it has been proven that trans men and trans women, sorry, I'm just going to take a drink of water.
Okay.
Where trans men and trans women really don't have an athletic advantage. There's been many studies done on this. In fact, the ones I have around 4 of them, and the only one that really states that there's a trans athlete where they have like a advantage. It says any athletic advantage a transgender woman or woman is a result of testosterone levels that dissipate after about 1 year. So I would generally agree with that. Like if you just transition this year, like let's say you're a sophomore and like over the summer you just transition, like the summer before junior year you transition. You would you would still have that athletic advantage because you still have the testosterone in you. But people who like transition like years before, like many years earlier, or like mainly before puberty, that athletic advantage dissipates because of the fact that they no longer have that testosterone and they never went. And for like the pre-puberty people, they never went through that transition. So this assertion that trans athletes have that an advantage in sports I just don't think it's a thing.
All right. Well, I mean, that's a small percentage of trans people, I would think, that transition during puberty, right? Or yeah, I would say that.
It's very common, at least
Well,
like nowadays, for people to transition like pre-puberty. Like there's a reason why, like, for many decades they've been giving out puberty blockers.
okay. Well, I mean, see, I would need to see some studies on that. I think most people transition a little bit later than that, a little bit later than puberty. So I have a study here from Harvard, and it's not directly relating to transgender athletes, but it has to do with hormones in males and the development of. So a lot of these things are not important. Okay, superficial things, the voice, genitalia, facial hair, but the hormones in men, testosterone and other hormones, also play a big role in bone growth and muscle size. So they go on to say, in a totally unrelated article study from Harvard, that these things, such as bone structure, remain unchanged once we reach adulthood. So you have permanent changes to bone structure. You have permanent changes in terms of the heart. Men have larger hearts, more muscle fibers, larger lungs. And like I said, bone structure is stronger and sturdier in biological men. And those things are permanent things. So how would you respond to that?
Well, my response is, well, first of all, I would like to see that study just so I could.
From Harvard.
Can you link it in the chat, like our private chat, just so I could see, like, I could look at it and make.
Well, I'm not lying to you. This is not. I didn't make this up.
I never really said I'm lying to you. I just want to look at the study just out of plain curiosity, as well.
Sure.
I also linked the study I was talking about before. At least it should be the right study. Hopefully it should. Yeah, that's the right study. It was done by the NCAA, and they figured out that testosterone levels dissipate after about 1 year. And as well, there's been like there's really no evidence that trans athletes have an especial advantage. Like, sure, they may have like different bone structures, but that may not necessarily translate to on track or on field, I guess, athletic ability. Like, there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that trans athletes, like cis athletes, like regular man or regular woman, they, just like them, they have varying athletic abilities. Like, I've known many trans athletes who are terrible. You know, they come last. I know some that are average. They come
personally,
and some they come like very top. It's just like,
how many trans athletes do you know personally?
Many. I would say, like, if I were to estimate, probably like, just like off the top of my head over the years, probably like around 7+.
From school, right, or college, or whatever it is?
Work, like just life in general.
Okay. Well, you mentioned differences in terms of athletes in general, and of course that's a given. But men, though, people who are biological men who transitioned into being women, again, have larger hearts, larger lungs, stronger and sturdier bone structure, and increased muscle fiber receptors. So those are major advantages that never go away, even after transition. You could do the full transition and you still have those advantages. Even if you let your muscles dissipate, you let your testosterone go down, a larger heart means more blood circulation, larger lungs means better breath, sturdier and stronger bones is essential to competition, right, in terms of giving you an advantage. And I'm not saying that somebody who's done a full transition has an absolute unquestionable, there's no way they could lose advantage. But there's a clear, in my view, a clear advantage in terms of biological men transitioning into women who have come in and have, in many cases, won these competitions. I want to move, unless you have a response to that, I'd like to move.
I would like to respond to that. So first of all, I would like to see that study on that, because like I don't just like, I'm the type of person that likes facts. I don't like taking something at face value. Like I would like to assume that you're being truthful here, but as well I can't take, like, it's just like legal people. Like when you're in a trial, you can't just take hearsay and say it's evidence. You can't do that.
Well, I cited it. I cited it
for the studies, and as well, I don't know, like, um, I don't know what your knowledge is on this issue, but if you also look at males and females, they also have varying, varying body structures, varying bone density. That's why I mentioned that there is like a variation when it comes to trans athletes, just like there are with cis men and cis women. That's really what my argument is, and also, like, yeah, that's generally what I just don't get, because it's like, just like cis women and cis men, trans athletes have varying bone structures, they have a varying body frame. Like, yeah, I think you get the gist.
Okay, well, here is one of the studies linked in the chat. Let me find the other one, both from Harvard.
Okay. And also, I should point out, I did some research on your thumbnail, and this, like the thumbnail said, debate, what was it? Debate transgender woman in sports or whatever. The woman you have on the cover is not a trans woman. It is in fact Gabby Garcia, who is one of the most dominant female Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighters of all time. So if you were meaning to like depict a trans woman on your thumbnail, then that's not really the best. Like, that, you shouldn't really be using a born woman to like put that as your thumbnail. Like, you know what I mean?
My intention was to show the hardworking biological women who have worked many, many years and who are still getting beat by these trans athletes. I mean, so the next part of this is the moral argument of it and the fairness argument. I mean, we have these amazing women who have competed for years and years and years and years to become the best in whatever field that might be. It could be a high school, could be a college division, whatever it might be.
Well, there are a lot of trans athletes that do the same. Why make that moral argument then?
Well, like I just said,
for trans women, trans men, they're people too,
I never said they weren't. I mean,
that you didn't say that, but
you just did. You just did.
I never even said that you said that. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, you can put it out there, but you're talking to me, so you're saying it to me. So there's a certain assertion there, but there is no discussion about the morality of. I've said in that video that I support transgender protections in terms of bank loans, in terms of housing. I haven't heard many other people call for those same protections.
I mean, I'm for transgender protections in general. I'm for trans rights, baby. Like, I'm trans rights all the way. Like, I want all those and more. So, like, I think you said in a comment, like, in replying to me, like, you basically asserted that I'm not, like, I think it was something like, you're pro-trans, or like, and I'm just saying this in third person, I'm pro-trans, you're pro-trans in sports, asserting that I'm not pro-trans. So I just want to put it out there that I'm all pro-trans, baby.
That was not the assertion. The assertion was to put a fence right in the middle of those two issues. Mm-hmm. Okay. Trans in sports is a totally different issue than trans rights. Okay.
Well, I would argue that they're the same issue, because a right to play a sport, I would consider that a right, wouldn't you?
Well, sure, but like I said, I mean, I cited my study, okay, which is from Harvard. Okay, and there's many, many other studies out there which have the very same findings.
Also,
And
sorry, this is for my chat. Crazy Burb lady, if I can't really access links right now, if you could send it to me on like I don't know,
Twitter,
like Twitter just if you want to send me any studies, whatever, I don't care. Just send it to me on Twitter _communism _. It's just communism with a T, communism, haha. So just send it to me on Twitter if you want to see studies or whatever.
there it is.
Oh, I was directing that in someone in my audience, but that works as well. You could, but yeah, if you want to link it in the private chat we have as well, you could also do that because I don't have the YouTube stream up.
But so this one is saying the what testosterone does. There's another one that I could not find that says, but like I said, I cited these, so it's not like I'm pulling these quotes out of a hat from Harvard. Harvard,
I'm just a very fact-based guy. I like facts and feelings.
Harvard Health Publishing, Harvard Medical School. Okay, that's
testosterone, what it does and doesn't. Well, how is that relevant? Because with trans women, when they fully transition, by then they have no testosterone left.
no, that's incorrect. Well, so what I have explained, what I've tried to explain, is testosterone causes the body to develop differently than in women. It permanently changes bone structure, the size of your heart, muscle fibers, which are very important for reactionary.
You could say that also changes, like, if you do more strength training when you're younger, if you drink milk when you're like,
no, you can't.
Like all these things are like not factors, and as well, like it doesn't really affect performance because it has been proven now and again that trans women have the same variation as cis men and cis women. So I don't know why this is relevant.
Oh, it is relevant because it's not a matter of training. It's a matter of biological science. It's a matter of bigger heart, which again, see, I'm repeating myself now, provides more blood to the body, better muscle fibers, which react differently and react quicker. That's what it says, quicker. Increased bone strength and sturdiness. Bigger lungs, which allow you to take in air more. If you're out of breath, you're not going to do as good as if you can breathe better. So I'm not saying these are the end all be all, but it provides a biological.
Because it's like you're saying that because of this, the performance on field makes them better. But I've proven again and again and again that trans women and men are like cis women and women, where some of them have a bigger body type, some of them have a smaller body type, some have more bone density, some have less, some have bigger lungs, some have little lungs, some women even have just testosterone naturally. Like that's intersex, baby. Like
so you don't consider the biological differences to be relevant, the permanent biological, because like I said, all of these things are permanent and do not change.
Happen if you transition, post male puberty. And from what I've seen, a majority of transitions, at least nowadays, are happening pre-puberty. So then you don't get the things described, the bigger bone density, the larger lungs. Like you don't experience male puberty. That's where a lot of that like difference happens.
Well, I think we've both stated our case there. I do have some videos to play. Is this a good time, or would you like to move on to a different topic?
Go ahead. It's your live stream. So.
Well, I don't want to treat you unfairly. Okay, well, let's move on to that since you brought up pre-puberty transition. I find to be very disturbing. I think well, don't interrupt me. I'm about to explain it to you.
Okay, go ahead.
We have these children, okay, who are, I mean, it's, in some cases you say 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that age.
Well, let me see. It was around that age, I would say. Like that's very normal.
Yeah, well, I don't think as a child you were in a position to make the decision to chop off your genitalia or to because you're a child. Okay, because you still believe in
if you want to transition effectively, it's better to do it pre-puberty because then you don't experience the effects of male puberty. Like, wouldn't you be in favor of that since you don't want that, the bigger lungs, the bigger bones? Like, wouldn't you be in favor of that?
You asked me a question and then jumped in. Okay, so your question was
State your case.
why isn't that a good idea? Because children still believe in Santa Claus, because children don't know a damn thing. Okay, so why would they be in a position to make a life-changing, forever, irreversible decision like that?
Why would they? Well, because, like I said, well, first of all, I think it should be made clear you don't need to chop off your dick to transition. It's just puberty blockers have been administered to minors for decades, and it's because of the fact that I stated many times where pre-puberty, it's better to do puberty blockers pre-puberty because it's literally in the name, puberty blockers. It stops the puberty from happening. So why put in puberty blockers post-puberty? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's just sort of self-defeatist in a way. And there is a study, if I could find it.
Well, let me
that you actually lose more bone density if you do puberty blockers post-puberty, like around 16ish.
Okay, well, let me put it to you this way.
Health of the child to do the puberty blockers pre-puberty.
We don't let human beings in America citizens smoke cigarettes until they're 18.
21 in my state, but yeah, I could.
Okay. Okay. Well, here too, actually. Okay. 21 to drink and smoke. So to me, that's basis for my entire argument in that regard. I mean, you're not old enough to smoke a cigarette, but you're old enough to decide to chop off your genitalia in some cases. Okay, you would agree with that in some cases. Or to permanently change your development, okay, which is a big, big deal. And I don't think children are in a position, prepubescent children or even teenagers, to make such a life-changing decision. And you see in many cases, there have been people who've come forward who made transition and they regret their transition. That's not something you can get back.
It's not really a common occurrence. If you could give me a study where 50% of trans people regret their transition, that's just not the case. There are very, very rare cases of people regretting their transition and then wanting to detransition. But if you do puberty blockers, they are the only treatment available where you could actually reverse that, because all you need to do is just take them out. In fact, let me link you a study. I'll link it to you in the chat and on Twitter.
I will tell you, I am very concerned about these studies because I think many of them have become political. Okay.
They are endorsed by many, many academies. Not only like this study that I sent you in particular was done by the Human Rights Campaign, but they were also done by the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American College of Osteopathic Pediatricians, which are not really, I wouldn't call them political at all. They're just purely medical. And it affirms the validity.
In your opinion, right? In your opinion, because I just cited the various differences from Harvard. You know, so any study that is not bringing forth the counter information, I would say is probably a political study.
Well, wait, are you making the argument that everything's political?
I'm making the argument that I think that the genetic differences are important, the ones I just said, okay? And even the testosterone, even post-transitioned women, okay, post-transitioned transgender women have higher testosterone than biological females. So but like I said, testosterone is besides the point after it's already changed your body.
Well, I just told you that puberty blockers are completely reversible. I just linked you the study on Twitter. I linked it in our private chat. And as well, there are really no risks going on to puberty blockers. Like, there are no real because we're talking about puberty blockers specifically. We aren't talking about just any given transgender medication or treatment or whatever. There are no scientifically proven drawbacks. All they literally do is what it suggests. They block puberty, they pause puberty to give trans kids more time to determine their identity. So it's not like they completely go away like after like, I don't know, 30 days. It gives the trans kids time to figure out what their identity is. Like, don't you think that a child should be able to say like what they want to do with their body? Like, don't you think they should be able to do
No,
that at the very least? No,
absolutely not.
they should not have rights over their body. So
Children, do I think they have they should be allowed to? I think it's a parental decision, and I think any parent who allows their kid to do that
should they not be allowed to at least have a say?
No,
Not at all.
no, absolutely not.
Not at all.
Correct. Yeah, well, they can wear whatever clothes they want. They have a right to do that.
Oh, you know? so they could wear clothes, but which relates to their body, but they can't when it comes to like their
permanently.
Wait. This is like a big hypocrisy we're seeing here. So they can decide on their body, but they can't.
Clothes and body is not the same thing, man.
Well, yeah, but clothes are a very big factor in like showing off your body, like, and like terms of like clothes are on your body, aren't they? Last time I checked, they are. They can make the decision about that. But why can't they make the decision?
Hold on. I don't understand the point you're making. Okay, but we're not going to let people smoke or drink until they're 21, but they can make life-changing, biological changing decisions. A lot of these kids at young age.
Wait. Why do you keep using the same assertion of the of like drinking and smoking? Drinking and smoking have been proven to harm your body in different ways. Puberty blockers. There are like no scientific. No. There are no scientific like. There's no scientific evidence that there are drawbacks to puberty blockers.
Well,
there's none. Like you can't just make the same assertion again and again and again without backing it with evidence. Like you can't just do that.
Okay, well, I mean, the point here is that we're allowing children to make such a big life-changing decision.
Right, and they should be. Okay, hold on. No, they should be allowed to have they should be allowed more time to decide on this life-changing decision. Like I said, puberty blockers only pause like any puberty or any like testosterone going through. It doesn't stop it completely.
Well, you're
ranting. If it's like in there for like I don't know 10 years or whatever, that's when it only happens. But it only pauses it. So if anything, wouldn't you want to give more time for that child to figure out like what their what identity they want to go with? Because it's their body.
I want to give them 18 or 21 years to do that. They'll have
that defeats the purpose of puberty blockers because it's literally in the name. It blocks puberty. What's the point of it in doing after puberty?
Well, we have a great comment here from Soko who says kids can't give consent. I mean, there's a lot of differences between being a minor and being an adult. Okay, in terms of criminal justice, in terms of everything, we're allowing people who do not have
so their parents can force their children into sex slavery. Like what? Like what does that mean?
Don't interrupt me, or I'm going to mute you.
Okay, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a chance to calm down. I'm going to play one of two videos.
That you're triggered, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
You're triggered. You're the one who's ranting and
bro. Me. Okay, calm down. Okay, I'll let you calm down. Don't worry.
Let me calm down.
Okay, calm down.
I think we've had enough here, folks. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Oh, so you're just going to end the debate because you're triggered that I'm a better debater than you? Okay, that's fine with me. This will waste my time anyways.
Okay. Well, thank you, folks. I think you know where we both